Welcome back. One final point before we go tonight. What the mainstream media was afraid to tell you about the news this week. This week, while the mainstream media gushed over celebrities making videos saying they believe Christine Blasey Ford, even though there's no proof of her allegations, here are the things that happened that the mainstream media refused to tell you. Employees at the State Department, the Department of Justice, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the Government Accountability Office admit on undercover camera that they push socialist ideas and stymie President Trump's agenda. They work for the Socialist Party during work hours on their work computers. They use government resources to stalk the addresses of people they don't like in order to harass those people, and they resist the duly elected president they work for from within the president's own administration. This is the deep state, and these deep state operatives say there's no way to fire them. Did the mainstream media tell you about this? No. In fact, the mainstream media scoffs at the idea of the deep state, even though we now have video evidence of employees doing just that. Protesters from the Kavanaugh hearings, you remember the ones, they looked like the worst flash mob ever. Every minute on the minute, they stood up and disrupted the hearing. They were paid, according to the Daily Caller. The Center for Popular Democracy sponsored some of the protesters, and the Center for Popular Democracy is funded by George Soros. The Women's March sponsored other protesters, and the primary sponsor of the Women's March is Planned Parenthood. But did the mainstream media report on this revelation? Of course they didn't. Leaked emails from inside NPR say don't call Kermit Gosnell an abortion doctor in the coming weeks as the movie Gosnell is set to be released. NPR won't let makers of the movie pay for ads that use the word abortionist, even though past NPR reporting called Gosnell an abortionist. But did you see this story on the mainstream media? Did you see headlines about this so-called news organization twisting the words to fit the leftist narrative on abortion? Oh no, you didn't. The mainstream media wouldn't dream of telling you the truth. The woman accusing Democratic Congressman Keith Ellison of abuse, the woman's name is Karen Monahan, says Democrats are ignoring and isolating her. She says the Democrats do not believe her allegations of abuse at the hands of the Democratic rising star. But did the mainstream media report on this? Did they help expose abuse and misogyny at the hands of a Democratic elitist? Did they even investigate to see if these allegations are true or if they're not true? No, they refuse to tell you about this at all. A concealed carry permit holder in Chicago saved a cop's life when the cop engaged in a shootout with a suspect who opened fire on him after the cop pulled the suspect over. The suspect fired at the officer, hit the officer, and then a concealed carry permit holder stopped his car and opened fire on the suspect. But did you hear this story of incredible heroism from the mainstream media? Did the mainstream media point out what might have happened if the private citizen hadn't been allowed to carry that legally owned firearm? I'll leave you to answer that. The mainstream media doesn't care to report any of that to you, so we will.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.